You may have heard of the Rocks Push, a bunch of blokes that used to hang around and terrorise the locals. Well, the women also had their interesting seedy underbelly. Here to tell us more about the Femme Fatale exhibition at Justice and Police Museum is Nerida. Nerida, what can you tell us about these women gangs?
Well, during the 1920s and 1930s here in Sydney, we had a phenomenon known as the razor gang period. Groups of people who used to attack each other with cutthroat razors in fights over turf for drugs and drink and women. And the two most dominant criminals during that period were women, Kate Leigh and Tilly Devine. Kate Leigh was what we call a sly grog queen. She used to sell alcohol at inflated prices after hours, because here in Sydney you couldn't buy a drink after 6 p.m. during that period. And she had a string of these little sly grog shops throughout Sydney. And she was quite a vicious and ballsy woman who would do anything to protect her interests. One incident was a group of really tough Sydney male gangsters tried to break into one of her sly grog shops to teach her a bit of a lesson. And Kate saw them, picked up a shotgun, warned them to get off the premises. They wouldn't, so she shot one of them dead. Her arch nemesis was a woman called Tilly Devine, and Tilly ran a string of brothels throughout East Sydney, and she used to fight with Kate Leigh and Kate Leigh's gang of men, because Kate employed some gangsters to help her run her businesses, and they would have open brawls on the streets of Darlinghurst with their razors. In fact, Darlinghurst became known as Razorhurst for a period of time because of that. Tilly was also incredibly violent. She heard that a man had been bad-mouthing her around the streets of Sydney, so she hunted him down to a barber's shop, pulled out a razor and slashed him from ear to ear.
And who are the women in the photos?
Well, we also have some of the hanger-ons who were part of the periphery of these criminal empires. Dulcie Markham, the most beautiful prostitute in Sydney. She used to work for Tilly Devine in one of her brothels for a period of time. And Nellie Cameron, who was the most desirable prostitute in Sydney. She wasn't, when you look at her, you don't see her as the most beautiful woman, but she had pizzazz, she had charm, and she was the woman that most of the gangsters wanted to hang out with.
Now, further on, I can see what appears to be a picture of a man. Can I just ask, what's a man doing in the Femme Fatale exhibition?
Well, that is Eugenia Fellini. She was a woman who dressed and acted as a man for many years of her life. She married twice and was convicted of the murder of her first wife in 1920. She always said that she dressed as a man because the wages were better and the work was better. But she obviously had other impulses, because she married and lived with two women who didn't know that she was actually a woman.
And these images are just fascinating. Can you tell me, who are these women? They look like prison shots. And when were the shots taken?
These are actually prison shots. They were taken between 1915 and 1930 out at the State Reformatory for Women at Long Bay. And we have this remarkable collection of them at the museum, about 400 images of women who went through the prison at that time. So here we've got women who are there for everything from bigamy, getting married and not getting divorced in between, and murder. The Femme Fatale exhibition is showing at the Justice and Police Museum in Sydney until April 2010.